All right, welcome back. Sound check, 1, 2, 1, 2. Sorry about yesterday. I must have been, well, obviously I was in there, and what happened is the cord that goes to the receiver come undone. So that didn't tell Jolene that the batteries were dead. It didn't tell her anything. It just, we were not to be heard. And it was nice to listen in quiet, right? To watch in quiet. But anyways, this is where we're at. This is Jim's car, Jim Patterson's car. This car sat for 20-some years, I guess. He's always wanted to put a floor in it so we could drive it around his yard and spin up the mud and that sort of stuff. And I told him that I would put a floor in it for him because he's been good to us. And that's basically the end of the story. We're going to put a floor in it for him. And basically what I'm going to do, or what I am doing is, I'm doing it the easiest way possible that I know of. I'm not trying to do it the way they had it done. I'm not trying to mimic that because that's too much work, too hard, and I do not have the machinery and the equipment to make something like that. I could play with it for a while and bend it and weld it together and grind it and shape it. Yes, I could, but the time, that's not what I'm thinking. I'm thinking we're going to try to do it as quick as possible. I think we have probably an hour on it yesterday. You know, as talking and working, there's two different things, talking and working. I think we have an hour in it yesterday. And on the hour, what has happened is we got square tubing running along the inside sill. We have square tubing running from the toe board over to the tunnel and all along the tunnel and back to the rear floor part. That's what we got going on. And basically what we put that square tubing in there for is we have something to weld to and something to lay the floor on and something to make strength. All the metal that's going along the tunnel, that was all jagged before. We don't want that. We want it looking like this so it's easier to work with. A flat floor, a down floor, whatever, this will work just fine. We are not bringing it up any. We're right where we should be. Jim wanted the seat to fix. It was funny, Jim messaged last night and he wants to come over tomorrow because he thinks we might get it all done. I would have, but we're doing it, you know, video by video so we can do it together. And basically that's what I have right at the present moment. And if it comes in time when you know, if he likes it so much that he wants to repair it nicer, when you look at the car, I have not cut anything off it. I'm not doing that. That's too much time. I am not cleaning the metal. I'm not doing that. I'm just burning it on. But as you see, as I'm burning this on, and this is welded here and welded here, if you ever really wanted to clean the car up and make it look real nice, you would go on the back side and you would see where I welded it, and then you would just take a grinder and zip that off, just score it, keep scoring it, and then take it like a Spam can and roll it off. You could roll that all off nice so that looks really nice. On a floor, when you have this sort of stuff, these cross members and that stuff that are welded to the floor, it's hard to make that stuff tight. Like it really is. Like if you cut a floor out and then you try to make it fit tight and then you go anything, it don't look that good generally. I generally, if I'm fixing a floor, I will clean it all up where it's rusty or whatever like that. I'll clean it the best I can. And generally it looks nicer if you put the piece right over top of it and then you just do something on the bottom to fix it. Or I like fixing it from the bottom so you can't tell. Or I like cutting it all out and square tubing it and all you see is square tubing and panels. The floor is a hard thing. If you want to do an original floor, well then you're getting into welding in panels and filling both sides. Auto body filler on both sides. That's what you do. Auto body filler on both sides. Yeah, so we're going to get started on this right here this morning. As I come out here this morning, I've been looking at it, you know, as I jumped out last night, or yesterday. As I jumped out yesterday, I had a chance to look at it. It's going fine. We're just tacking it where we can and doing the only thing we can to move forward, eh? And we want to do it as quick as possible. That's the name of the game. I'm trying to get it done as quick as possible. And if somebody had an old car that they can't, you know, grasp all the ups and downs and the cross members and trying to get everything tight, I'm showing you exactly what you can do to make a floor. Also, don't stop there. As I'm square tubing the floor up, if you wanted to channel a car, this is what I do. I make the skeleton of the floor, and I take the skeleton floor and I put it up inside the car. Then I set the car down on the frame. So as you see me making this channel for this floor, I make floors out of square tubing. I make a skeleton of the floor. Just like on the Bugatti here, I would make a skeleton of the floor that what fits. And then I would set my car on it wherever I want it to. If I want to set it way down on the floor, that's fine. I can weld it there or not, or I can bring it way up or whatever. And the matter of that is, when you do the inside sill, you just leave lots of length so you can put your car up or down. And then it's just like a pie. You cut off the bottom that you don't need, if you understand what I'm trying to say. Alrighty, I'm gonna do a cross member here. I've decided on this. Decided on it this morning when I looked at it. What's we we need something? I do. I do. I grabbed a marker first thing. I knew from yesterday. It lit me up when I wasn't ready. It lit me up. Jolene's looking amazing this morning. She got a big ponytail in. Her hair will be all curly tonight. Want a baby? Huh? I know the tricks. I know the tricks. Basically, I got the grinder right there. Basically, what I'm going to do is I've got a cross member. That right, if you want to come take a look, baby, I'll just show what's going on. I'll get to work here in a second. That's a cross member right there. That right there would be welded to the floor, the original floor. That's your body mount bolt and your body mount. And that's your inside, that goes to your inside sill. So that's part of the floor. I've looked at it. I don't want it. That's basically, it doesn't suit what I'm doing, so I'm going to cruise on. And I'm going to show you exactly what I'm going to do to get rid of it. Yow! Got my finger caught already. Just trying to cut the head of that bolt off. And the reason I'm trying to cut the head of the bolt off, because I'm going to replace it. I'll get her off here in a minute. It'll only take me a disc or two. Yeah, so basically, another reason why I wanted to do this car is because to show anybody out there that has an old car that wants to do a floor in their car, and I want to show them that they can do it this way. It's not original. No, it's not. But you can make it just as strong, as nice as you want to, you know. Just because it's rusty, it doesn't mean that it's over. We didn't do much work yesterday, really. We did a lot of work yesterday, but it wasn't much to do. It's a piece of square tubing, you know, and fill in the holes. Basically, that's about it. About it. Come on. There we go. Just the mass, that's all. There we go. There's our mount. Alrighty. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to get some square tubing, and we're going to make a new mount, but we're going to run it all the way across the floor. This one went, yeah, something like that. I cut the piece out of the center anyways. That went along the floor. This welded to the floor. It only went halfway. We're going to take ours and go all the way across. If you know what I'm trying to say. Huh? I'll wear that size. That's the out, huh? Wear that out, if you know what I'm trying to say. This is what I'm going to do here is take my gloves off. You don't like that big bumblebee? Baby, it will not hurt you. It just lives here for, say, 22 and 21 3/4. 22. I'm going to take this. Them bees got hot feet. Don't they, baby? They got hot feet. Yeah, when they land on, they got hot feet. It won't hurt you, sweetheart. It won't hurt you, sweetheart. If it does, it'll have me to tend with. Huh? I'll bring the wrath of the old fly swatter at it. It won't hurt you, sweetheart. It won't hurt you, sexy. It won't hurt you, no. So this is basically the idea I've come up with this morning. That's going. I don't know which one that is. That one's going here, probably. That one's going here. And then we'll put a piece of plate on that so that I can, on there. And how long? Baby, it's way up there, sweetheart. Okay, so I'm just going to do that. I'm going to put a piece of plate in there. I'm going to cut it, put a hole in it, weld that in there, and that would be the cross member. Boom. I got to know where to weld the plate, though. I should do that again. Let's get this figured out here, right, before I do that. You figured it right. Plate from there, and there, and there, and there. You should get a little closer to the mic and say that, sweetheart. Hi, baby. You should hear the words you taught him that thing to do. Oh, alrighty. That's quite heavy. That's what we'll do. That's the piece right there. It's going in between there. We're going to make a new one. Got to go like that, and it'll go like that. We'll weld that in there like that. That's our body mount. Thick stuff. I am, what can I say? As I'm thinking about this, I better speed up here a little bit, get something done. As I'm doing this, I think that the job I'm doing would be good for any car. But what I'm thinking right now is he's going to be driving her around quite tough and rough on probably around the dooryard. It's probably best to have a couple good body mounts in it, and that's why I'm taking the time. Look at this now. Put my knee pads on. I think it's probably best that I mounted it down in a couple places that are nice and weld it to the car. There's two of them right wide open there, so why wouldn't I? And also another reason why I cut that out of the way, now it will not interfere on the inside sill when I go to put that piece of metal in there. It will not interfere. And I'm thinking I should put that on now. no, I'm gonna weld that to the bar. That's okay. That's okay. My gloves. I had my gloves right there. We'll get with it here in a second. What I want to do on this one, I want to try to make sure I get this side squared off, fixed, not the floor panels in, but everything other than laying the floor on, and then we can move to the other side tomorrow. Hoping. If I don't set a goal, if I get the hour, and if I do not set the goal, it's hard to keep it, isn't it, if I don't set it? Hard to keep the goal if you do not set it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to weld that in there. I'm going to weld that in there, just like so. Set in the right spot, are we? Trying to do as quick as I can. That's the name of the game for me on this. Do it as quick as I can. Get some square tubing in there. Get her. I wonder if I put that in there right. Probably should have slid in there after. Beautiful. 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 Oh, sorry, sweetheart. Just gonna grab this. We can blow the hole in that anytime. We can blow the hole in any time. Just want to put it over top the mount. We can blow a hole in it any time. I want to get that up some. Does not matter where that sets or lies. Hard to get in there. I just want it to look okay. So. Tack that. I didn't see it kind of took off on me or not. Well, there you go. So I'm going to weld that in there. I want to take a look back at it first. Not going to probably cut it out whether it's crooked or straight or whatever it is. I just tried to line it up with, there's a piece right here going on the chassis. I lined it up with that, and then I'm going from there. I'm going to weld that in, blow a hole, put boat roller underneath of it, and we'll call it Yahoo. Well, I'll just weld the top of it in right here, this piece right now. Put your eyes on. No measurements needed. You know, just make it look good. No measurements needed. The only reason I say that is because when I go underneath the floor, or when we put the piece of metal down, we'll just mark it where the cross members are, and that's all there is to it. You know. Line the welder all up before I take off. If there needs to be any more welding done, that will be the underneath man. Oh, well, this is a little better. Ah! Welder grounding out on me. When it makes that noise, that means you're grounding out. That means you're grounding out. Cool. I got enough weld on that to stay in place. So that's the first body mount. We'll drill a hole, boat roller. Not drill a hole. We will not drill a hole. No, we not. We'll drill a hole. We will not drill a hole. We'll plasma cut a hole, and then we'll boat roller. Let's go to the next one. This one in the back, I'm thinking that right now, hope I don't come unplugged. There's another one of these things right here. I want to get this out of here, and it's sort of, is it holding the car or is it not holding the car is what I need to know. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a jack. I'm going to put it underneath the back and hit the square tubing, just put it right on it so it's not going anywhere. Then I'll cut that out just to make sure. Make sure of what, I'm not sure. Jolene backing up in the mess, she's doing a fantastic job. The jack, do we know where I put that bad boy? Did I hide it somewhere? Trying to clean up, that's what's going on. I see it, down the other end, I'll get it. Just for, you know, just in case, that's all. Just in case, we're using the sign, if you know what I'm saying. Ha ha. Jim called us and he said he might show up this morning. He's thinking that we might be done too quick. Look at that, got the boat roller ready, huh? Good deal, eh? I was trying to think a little bit this morning because of yesterday. We had the mic problem, and then we had me not having all the stuff ready. That's okay. That's okay. That's okay. I'm just going to put that in there. I need a little piece of wood. I've been chucking everything in the wood pile for a big burn pile down there. A little tiny square piece I had here yesterday. Just looking for it for a second. I'll get a piece. I'll just be a second. I got a piece. Beautiful day out, people. Beautiful day. Just wanted to sit underneath that square tubing, put it on my jack, let that down some. Down a little bit more. Hope I didn't get too long of a piece. See my piece of wood right here? Yeah, I'm just gonna that's it. That's all I want. So don't go nowhere. I'm not trying to jack it out of place. I just want it to hold that. I don't know how well that's going to do it, but that's what I want. Good. Good. Good, good. Whole wheat shreddies. Don't cut Jim's wires. What? Don't cut Jim's wires. He didn't want that cut. See, it got a bunch of stuff on this one. A bunch of metal there. Big tag of metal there. I don't want to try to repair that. Not even close. I'm basically just trying to make it easy on myself. That's about it. I might as well change the disc now. And basically, I'm going to do the exact same thing there. We'll do the 2 mounts for sure. And it also, like I said, helps for the inside sill. I keep talking about the inside sill. And the only reason I talk about it, like the inside sill, quite a bit, because I have forgotten. I have gone and took off and put the floor in, you know, going so fast, and I've forgotten to put the inside sill in. And then you have to jack the car up and get underneath of it to do that. No, don't do that. Or if you want to, you can. But it's nicer to put it up here and put it longer than it needs to be. I keep stressing that, longer than it needs to be. Get out of there. I think it needs a persuasion. Will that take off now? You see that take off? See that take off? Yeah, pushing in now. Ah. There we go. There we go. Hee. There we go. Awesome. Now we'll just take this one off. You would never, like, if you'd have a hard time to get the car off when that twisted up in there, you'd have a hard time. I am fixing that by doing this. Just put a rubber mount in that. Them ones aren't bad, I guess. They probably could stay. They probably could stay because they're stationary, but we'll put some new bolt roller in there, no problem. Now we'll put some new. Now we need another measurement. I'm just rambling there. That's all that was, rambling. He's a rambling man. I'm going to do it this way this time. I'm going to put $26 and 26 and a quarter will do. 26 and a quarter. I think it'll be easier fitting them in and then putting the square piece in between, just because I got lucky on that one, I thought. Just because I had the square, I got lucky on that one, I thought. I'm just going to try to do this one without. Just trying to get on the edge of that mound, that's all I'm looking for. So the square piece will go in between and weld that in. Just going to tack it on this side. Now I can put it where I want on the other side. Try to straighten her out a little bit. That don't look bad there. Okay. That'll have to be buffed off, obviously. And that's because the floor will lay on top of that. But I don't want to put some weld on it, you know what I'm saying? Get off there. And I have to be buffed off just to show it does. Buffed off. Here you go, there's one. Got to do another one. $26.5. How long a piece do we need for that? I need a 4.5 inch piece. 4.5? Yeah, 4.5 will do. 4.5 inch. The sign is very professional. Huh? The sign is very professional. Are you? Okay, you want to? Jolene wants to open the door. She's scared of the bee. And that's all right. She's allowed. It's all right. You're allowed. Welding that in there just like that one. And want to bend this down a little bit. Beautiful. He's in there. Get another measurement. 26.5. I already cut that one, did I not? Yeah. Right there, I think it is. Cut that one. So you know what we do. You know what we do after we. You know what we do after we. Man. I love it. Yeah. You gotta love it when it all comes to a plan. When it all comes to a plan, you know. You gotta love it. Just tacking it, and then I can play with it over here. Just make sure that I can get it where I want it. Looks good to me. It's always good to clean out the welder on the end once in a while. I've been grounding out quite a bit. There we go. Should help me a little bit. Now I'm just going to tack that in there. Then I'm going to probably run a piece of, no, I will. We'll run a piece of square stock. We'll try to get it in there and run it across straight and get that something tacked to and run it over there. We'll try to get this one, not sure, we'll probably try to cut that one off and fix this floor and fix that wheel well. See what happens. I'm just going to tack this in right now. Don't want to get your eye, sweetheart. I must say, Jolene's doing amazing camera work. You would never get that camera work showing what they're doing like we're doing here. Amazing. Good job. Jolene showed me last night, and I was in here welding. I want to see what he's doing there. And Jolene all the way around there. And you know what I mean? Then you know right there, someone's doing a good job when you want to see something, and that person does it. Trying to burn that in nice, that's all. Da 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 da. I'm gonna weld this right here, this one in here. That's a hard spot. Hey, got it. Alrighty. So we know what size we want it. Able to shove it in there. That's good there. That's good there. Let's weld it there. All right. Now, I want a piece of square tubing. I'm gonna get a. My helper is trying to get it for me, trying to make me quicker. That's good. Love that, sweetheart. I love that. Get her. And going on here. We also have. This is the cross member here, where I'm down inside here. This is the cross member for the seat. So this would hold the seat. That would hold the seat, obviously. We're gonna do that here, but I'm working here right now. So we'll just leave it for a little bit. I'm going to get a piece of square tubing, see what I can make it look like here. I don't know what it's going to do, but I have to cut it and see. 26 3/4, we'll say. I'm just going to put it in there and see what I can make it look like instead of having that jagged edge going along there. Basically. That come in just a little bit, I think. But it's probably hanging out too, so no, it's good. Whole wheat shreddies. All right, now piece 26. Did I say 26 3/4? Come on, Teddy. Lost my brain for a second. 26 3/4. Hope that's my bad boy right there. 26 3/4. 26 3/4. 26 3/4. 26 3/4. What's that say? 26 5/8. That's good. We'll use that rest for penetration. Just, right? That's what I'm thinking. We'll just use that 8 as penetration. Kind of a hard spot to get in and out of. And you can see how easy it would be to lay a floor on this once I do a cross member here and a cross member there. It's pretty basic. We're just making her basic as possible. Now I see that's good. I like that. Let's see how this goes underneath the brace. That goes right underneath the brace, and I had to put pressure on that to get that down there. I like it. I'm going to pound that in there. She's going in to stay. This little... There we go. There, that fits good. I'm going to tack it on this tack. I'm going to tack it on that side, and then I'm going to push this side where I want it. Because I like it when it comes down. It comes down. If you know what I'm saying. Turn that welder back on. It's hard to believe, but sometimes I get pleasure out of doing work like this. Sometimes. Alrighty. Oh, sorry. Just trying to get the shot, weren't you? Just trying to get the shot. I basically just want to get this nice going across here, that's it. And then I'm going to weld it. I like that, looks of that. Yeah, I'll match her up here. Awesome. Alrighty. Cut that straight. Now we've got a real nice brace that we're sitting on. I'm going to weld it right here. The square tubing went across. Got a nice brace right here that we're trying to get on. I'm going to weld it here, weld it around there where it should be. Watch your eyes for a sec, baby. I just want to knock it down with the hammer. The tack will do. We're tacking the brace 3 places. That's good now. Wow. Beautiful. Love it. Love it. Just knock this down, make it fit right. Just trying to knock it down so it's tight. Come on. on quite high heat. I am sometimes. When you hit it like that, when you tap it like that, when you tap out an inch further, then it comes down nice and tight. But every time you tack it, you got to lift your helmet up, get your hammer out, and tap it down. Sometimes I don't do that, but sometimes you have to make it look right. That's what I'm doing right now, just making sure so I don't burn through. The metal's thin. I don't want to. That does not matter there to me. Probably best if I just set a piece up on there, but just tacking it in place. Ooh, she's thin. All right, we'll just leave that there for now. I can put a little piece across there. Maybe I should have done that. Maybe I still can. All right, we'll knock that off. All right, there's our, I'm gonna weld that down the side if I can. Good. Good. All right. Now, let's get, what have I got going on here? Get that squared off, get that squared off. I want to cut this mount out, and I just think it's going to be a time, that's all. Or maybe I should leave it. Maybe I should leave it for the last one. It's rotten. I can leave that one in there, but I don't really want to. I don't really want to. Where do I want to go next, I wonder? Let's shut the welder off for a second. Just want to look at a few things, see where I want to go next. What looks like I should do. I still got to fill in the center with a cross member. I still got to plasma cut the holes for the boat roller. I just got a mount back here. I just want to looking at dealing with. I'm going to cut that off. It doesn't help me any. I'm not getting into that floor, I don't think. When we do this piece, we can bend it like a little inch flange that comes up on this. When it comes back, just and tack it all the way along there to make that good now. This piece is just straightforward. We're coming from this cross member here, that cross member here. We're going to bring it across. We're going to come across. Just trying to figure out this corner as I'm looking at it. Just trying to figure out the corner here. We've got a space here where the wheel well is, where the quarter panel has come away from the wheel well, and we got this here, and we got another cross member here. That's fine. This cross member here is fine. But what I will say is, I still need my inside sill there, like I always say, and it's tight there right now. I've got that welded jammed tight, that come in there, and I welded it. And that's okay. It's definitely okay. Let's shut the door. The door didn't, I don't think the door gap matters a little bit. Nothing's in there, no wires are in there. Yeah, she's all the same. She's all the same. That's all good. That's all good. Now I just want to figure out the back piece here. That's all I'm trying to figure out. I'm just trying. I can let off the jack now. I can let that off. Take that out of there. I don't know if you'll want to come from the other side, sweetheart, or maybe the other side can give you a better look of what's going on, where I'm at, what I'm doing. We've got, you can see that we've got this brace connected. This brace connected again. You see how they have their brace connected across the back. We didn't have that, so we've connected it down here. This is the brace for the doors. That probably, that's pretty good. It feels real good. What happens now is I got a brace coming across right there. It's the only one that I can't get at. I'm just wondering how I want to get at, cut it off with a grinder, you know. I guess don't stop. We'll make a piece for this. We'll put a piece in there and then we'll see where we'll go from there. Instead of me stopping and slowing down, just doing a little too much thinking there. You know, I had a couple pieces there to make. So I might as well try to make. Scissors should be over there. Let's go for it. Scissors. Yeah. Marker should be in my pocket, but it's not. It's on the floor somewhere. Boop, 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 boop. There it is right there. Yeah, I don't know if I want to rip the interior or not. Let's make a piece. Let's get the... I want to hit that with a hammer for some reason. A little chip of metal. It's got holes in it. What I might do is chop it off so it looks like it's right at the end of the mount. We've got contact on this side, on the inside of the inside sill. We've got bars welded across here. We do not need that welded there again. I'm going to cut that off and make it look like, or I might attach it right to this after, but this is rotten down here and underneath, so I'm going to cut it off in the front and then we'll put a piece there. That's what I got planned. I don't want to screw up Jim's interior. Sure. Do it, baby. Nope, don't want to screw up Jim's interior. Just need a piece in there to get that. That's good. That's good. That would be nice to bring that right down onto the floor. That would be nice. I'm going to cut that off first. I'm going to do it the other way. I'm going to put the... Nope. I can put this piece in. I can go down in there and be part of the wheel well. There's a wheel well missing down inside there. If you look right here, the wheel well's gone. I'm going to shove this piece right down through. There'll be a piece of metal jammed down there. Yes, there will be. But when you take the wheel off, you can trim it to any shape you want. And you'll have something to weld to. And it's missing, so why wouldn't I? Ha ha! Let's do this. I'll bring it like that so I get something to weld to. That's where we're going, just like that. Get a piece cut up, put it in there, then we'll cut this off. I think what we'll do is I'm going to cut that end off. I'm going to put a little piece of something, square tubing, to go over to this so it's connected, and then we'll put a piece over top of it. So that body mount will not be cut out and replaced because we did not have the good enough visual and would not be able to get in there very good. That's about the end of it. Look at that piece now, would you? That was made for Jim's car. Right there. That was made for Jim's car. I don't know if the floor work means wheel wells. It does on this one. It does on this one. Thanks everybody for watching and all the comments and all that stuff. Everybody waiting, you know, we had little issues with processing. Thanks everybody for waiting. Go ahead and said yet today. Jolene looks amazing today. She does. She always does. So we'll try to get this side framed up here. We'll try to get her framed up, and then we'll go on the other side tomorrow. The panels will be another time. Have to frame it before we get it, the panels. There might even be trimming toenails right there, boys. At its best, trimming toenails. Any young kids need their toenails trimmed, bring them in. I'll trim them up. Hard to start on an edge with this. Well, I like to start on the straight edge. Like it's hard to start on a cut edge than a straight part. So that's why I turned it around. Just gonna get my glasses, my hammer. Gonna tap this down. I'm gonna knock off the edges. Make sure it's friendly. I mean by friendly, it's not sharp. That's what I mean by friendly. Shoes cut underneath the car. Ha ha ha. Turn the welder on. Let it right down the side there. I tacked it right in the hardest spot to get off. Ha! I love it. Nope. I want to bring it out here a little bit. I want to get that hole. That makes sense. Go. My third arm set in place. don't want to have to take time to clean anything up. That's basically what's going on here. I'm trying to do it as quick as possible. And that means also the grinding part, getting ready, is half the gig, and I'm skipping that part of the gig because of what we're doing. You know what I'm trying to say. Again, if you know what I'm trying to say. Pair of pliers and pull that together. The metal there tacked to. Coat hanger. Beat that on there. Got a little gap going in there. I want to put a couple pieces of weld in there just to make it look better, I guess. Come on. Weld right on that hole I did. I was still able to get the... It would weld better, yes it would, without the stuff there, but... Messing around with Jim's interior, she'll be up in smoke. You know what I mean? Just want to tack that and I can beat that down with the hammer after. I don't like all the spitty spotters on her. Alrighty. I could push that forward there. I could weld that. And jam something against the tire. Push that. Pair of vice grips. Pair of vice grips. I don't know what that did. Whoop whoop! Get a spot of weld on her. Can I? Get a spot of weld on her. Trying to get this done and fast as I can, and that's the reason why we're not cleaning things up. That's the reason we're not cleaning things up. And as you can see, it's going okay. The coat hanger is a nice trick when you're doing rusty stuff. I can melt the coat hanger, and sometimes that undercoating will stay, and when I melt the coat hanger, it kind of bubbles away, and then you can get it to stick. That's basically what I've done. Now we want to cut this end off of this. I got to cut that off. I got to cut this off and connect it to that. Just because that end is rotten, you can see the hole right, there's a hole right here, and it's got a hole on this side. It's no good for nothing. I'll just cut it off and attach it to the square bar, and then we'll go from there. Then it'll look like the rest of it. What's that? We're at hour 6. Should I? What's that? Yeah, okay. We're going to. It's an hour and 6, people. We're going to go just a little bit longer. Just a little bit. We're going to give away a hat and a shirt today because we enjoy everybody coming on the show and commenting. Get your friends. Tell your friends to subscribe. The subscribing rate has slowed down dramatically. I want to send out all my friends and all my subscribers, send out the word. We need more. We need more. All right, here we're going to cut this Sure, right there in the handbag. She's cut off. Now the rod is gone. That makes me happy. That makes me happy. I'm going to take and shove a little piece of square tubing underneath this edge. I'm going to weld it there and weld it there and weld it there. And now we know it's still connected. I just need a little piece of square tubing I need. Wasn't that a cut here just a bit ago? 60. That was hard to believe, wasn't it? That was hard to believe. Yeah, I just measured that off right quickly. Trying to get done as much as I can on the 3. Basically, I'm trying to get done as much as I can for the hour length, and I'm going beyond the hour just because I want to do a couple more things, and you can see where we're at and where we're going. Basically, we're just tacking in the last mount on this side. The last mount on this side. What I've done is I cut the end off, and I'm going to do this. We're going to connect it to this. Did I do that right? No, I didn't. Here we go. I'll get my other piece. I want to go down here, get it welded right. This other piece in. Right after this piece, we'll draw for a hat or a shirt. That's what we'll do. We'll draw for a hat or a shirt, your choice. It's always nice when it's your choice. Believe me. I love it. I love it. Alrighty, that side's tied in. Now what's going to happen is I can make a panel for that. Now we're tied in there. We got that tied over. This is the mount, last mount. We just tied it in with some square tubing. The end of it was rotted off. And you can see where still got a hole in that side. We're fine with that. We'll put a piece of metal over that. We'll put a piece of metal in there and we'll start laying it in. We've got 2 more braces to come across for the floor. We're 1 hour and 6. We probably, we've got an hour in, that's for sure. So we're 2 hours in on the floor right at the present moment. It doesn't look much difference, but there's quite a bit of difference. We've made 2 mounts, 5 cross members, and tied that one in. So yeah, that's basically where she's at. Basically what's gonna have to be done now is there's gonna have to be a hole put in that. We'll cut a piece of boat roller. This is the boat roller right here, so I'm talking about boat roller. That's the stuff there. We'll cut that to length. We'll shove it in there, and we'll put a bolt down through it. And that'll be the end of the new mount. So if he ever wants to take it off, he'll be able to take it off. There's one back here he's probably going to have an issue with. But I can't see. I don't know. Don't know. Just don't know. But anyways, there she is in a handbag. The door's still shut. Let's give away a hat or a shirt. Let's get the subscribers up. We want to get 100,000 subscribers, man. Come on. Let's do it. Let's put the teamwork to it. If I haven't told you today, Jolene looks amazing today. You always do. Well, you know what? I did what I could do in a certain amount of time, and I'm happy with it, I guess. It'll be a lot nicer when the floor pans are in, but that takes time. We're 2 hours in on this floor. We're 2 hours in. I said yesterday when the mic was off, I really feel if I had, I really feel if I worked at it hard for a day, I could finish it. But we want to do it together, and that's the way we're going to do it. We're going to do it together so you can get to see and that you can bring a rusty car back just as well as I can. No problem whatsoever. And just because the floor's flat, that doesn't mean anything. How many comments, sweetheart? 520. Right on. Thank you very much. We appreciate all the comments. The guy won a hat yesterday. We did not get to announce it because the speaker was off. He'll have to do that on his own. And you send it in, and Jolene will send you something. Ron Lynch, no audio for a good bit, but I bet you still watch people like I did, framed up nice for the driver's side. Well, thank you, Ron. It's framing up quite nice. It is so. It's framing up quite nice. And basically, that's how I do all my cars. I try not to make it as complicated. I try to make it complicated, and I find that the factory sometimes complicate things with all their bends and all their stuff. Let's face it, they're trying to take a thin piece of metal and stretch it and make it as strong as possible. That's what they're trying to do. I'm squaring it up with square tubing and trying to make it as strong as possible with a flat floor. I feel like the floor that we're putting in the present moment could be just as good or better than what they had. We still have 2 cross members to make on the driver's side to bolt the seat to. And basically after that, it's panels for the floor. And that's basically it. It's panels for the floor. And we'll do a little bead here and a little bead there on the floor to make it look like something. The wheel well piece that I put in, that's just the shape that the wheel well is. It's quite a big hole. We're not restoring it. But why not tie it together there when I can? I'm just tying it together. I'm not restoring it. I'm tying it back together for the no mud and dirt flies in. We'll get it nice and tight and right for the floor. And I'm scared to open the trunk. Right? He said the trunk too, didn't he? Or something like that. But we'll get the main jig of the floor going here. And we'll do the exact same thing on this side. And you'll get to watch because we'll tape it. Have a good Friday, everybody. It's Friday. I forgot it's Friday. Someone said, why do you care it's Friday? Because you work every day. Friday to me was the day that you get off and you got to do a little bit of, relaxation. Me and Jolene have come to a point where we do it in moderation. We have a little relaxation every day, but we work every day. We find that, instead of using 70%, we want to use 100% of our time. And that's basically it. We're working for something. We really are. We're working for something. We're trying to get this YouTube station going. And if anybody has a new business, you must know that you have to put your work clothes on for it to survive. You have to. And that's what I know that my dream has, is work clothes on. So I'm just going to continue on. And I'm going to try to work as many days as I can and try to work 100% instead of 70%. And that's basically just it. But Friday still means the same thing to me, because I'm going to have a little drinky poo-poo. I will, a little drink of wine, a little bit in moderation. I'm not going to get all out of hand, because I can't get out of hand and do this in the morning. Can't do it. It keeps you down to earth and keeps me doing on the right thing. So if you're ever thinking about making your dream come alive, make sure you know it has work clothes on.